Oh, whatever it is, it's playing a little trumpet.
Well, it is the music room. He's gotta practice.
What's with all the broken glass? One old wooden bookcase.
Yep.
25 dry old books.
Mm-hmm.
4 lit candles.
Yeah.
Am I the only one seeing the problem? Are they paper lanterns?
Whatever they are, I like them. It's like a little parade of floating spirits.
All right, you got your wish.
Spooky murder mansion?
Spooky murder mansion. It's one of those big pianos with the open lids.
Don't touch it.
Why not?
Might be haunted. It's a globe.
For globing.
Are you a ghost?
Sally! That's rude! Unless she is a ghost.
It may come as a disappointment, but I am alive.
Ah.
That makes you a suspect, I'm afraid.
I know.
What's your name?
My name is Poppy. I'm a pointer. And a pianist.
We'll need to ask you a few questions about Freya.
I know.
Hey, you're pretty good.
All in the wrist. And 13 years of dedicated practice. I'm just me. There's nothing to know.
How are you related to the other pointers?
My father is Percival Pointer. The professor spends most of his time hidden away in his tower. Barely speaks to anyone these days. Especially not the fellows.
Do you get on with the fellows?
2 of them. Fifi and Freya are my closest friends. We all turned 19 last year.
Do people ever leave Tangle Tower? I don't mean to be rude. It's just, if you're 19...
You don't have to answer that, Poppy.
It's a fair question. I'd like to move away. Definitely. Fifi, Freya, and I would often talk about it, argue about it. Freya wanted to leave, but Fifi... things are more complicated for her.
What about now?
After what happened, I really don't want to stay here much longer. 3.5 hours of piano practice, soon as I wake up. Same as always.
3.5. Does that not hurt your hands?
Sure.
And you do this in the music room?
No, I prefer to practice in my room. When I make mistakes, I like to make them in private.
What did you do after that?
I was supposed to meet Fifi in the library, but I totally forgot. When I finally got down there, she'd already gone. I checked her bedroom, but it was locked.
Was Fifi not in there?
No idea. She keeps her door locked either way. So I went back upstairs and out into the moonlight garden.
The what?
The little garden on the roof outside my room.
Was it just you up there?
No. Fitz came outside after a while. His room's on the other side. He's been teaching me about flowers.
So, did you talk to him?
Not really.
You ignored each other.
I didn't say that. Fitz and I were up in the moonlight garden most of the afternoon. Then we heard this sound. Lasted about 3 seconds. I've been trying to decide how to describe it, but I'm struggling. It was like something drilling into a piece of metal, but different. Worse. I was pretty sure it was coming from Flora's tower, so we went up there to check. Her door was locked. Nobody was answering. I knew Freya and Flora were both supposed to be in there, so I made Fitz kick down the door. I went inside. Freya was lying on the floor.
Flora was in the room too?
Yeah. I think she realized what had happened at the same moment I did. I didn't know what to do, so I ran downstairs to get Fifi. Her door was still locked, but I knocked and shouted at her. Eventually, she let me in. The lights were off, but I could see she'd already been crying. I told her what had happened. She didn't believe me. She got angry. First time I've ever seen her angry. I dragged her out into the hall. My father was there too, for some reason. The 3 of us went back up to Flora's tower. Then Felix arrived. He had Penny with him. Fifi had this idea. She wanted to do some kind of scientific test. She took me down to the library. We were in there about 15 minutes. After she was done, she went back upstairs and I went back to my room.
That's it?
That's it. Needless noise from tongues expel, unless within the mouth they dwell. The spoken word, unfit for dealing with the shifting form of feeling, stand unblinking in the face of taciturn and soundless space. Foregone drifter, holding fast, days a shadow seeker past. Is it bravery or surrender, accepting that your world will render nothing darker than the gloom some four walls make round a room? Between the lips a silver spoon, a story written all too soon, the chosen dwelling of her heart, unjustly chosen to depart. Lost her liberation lays in the center of a maze. With surging tide, the waves are thrown, an entity of all its own. But on its surface you may see, reflected in the waters be, the orchestrator, pale and still, pulling strings, enacting will. Hard of head, but free of mind, unimprisoned, unconfined. With starry eyes, she sees beyond, behind our walls, beneath our pond. A soul untied, it's hers, it's free. Was then, is now, will ever be. Softly does the flower grow, all in time, and time is slow. Rest a seed within the earth, but do not rush its gentle birth. Hour by hour, day by day, tune your heart to nature's way. That's me. I'm on a list of murder suspects. Always thought that would be kinda cool, but it's just tedious.
Falls a little short, doesn't it?
So there are two families living in Tangle Tower?
Mm-hmm. 3 pointers and 5 fellows. 4 fellows.
What's the connection between them?
There isn't one. Not really. It was all built by the Remington family. Flora is a Remington, originally. So was Primrose, my mother. She married into the Pointers, and Flora married into the Fellows.
So the Fellows and the Pointers own the house now?
Flora owns the house. Depending on who you ask, that means her husband Felix owns it too.
What about your father?
His claim over the house kind of fell apart after my mother left.
Where's your mother now?
No idea. There's something I noticed about Freya's knife wound.
Hit me.
From what we could tell, the blade went in at an exact right angle, perpendicular to Freya's body. And there's only one small pool of blood. Nothing on Freya's hands, or anywhere else. The whole thing is just a little too peaceful.
What do you make of the statue?
I know that's the only harp in the whole of Tangle Tower. I've never actually seen a real one.
Maybe it's from before your time.
Oh, definitely. You see how old this statue is?
What about the symbols? One of them looks like piano keys.
Yeah, weird. This is mine.
Really?
No, well, yes, it was. I gave it to Freya about a year ago.
What was on it?
Nothing. It was blank. Freya said she wanted to record something.
Any idea how it ended up underwater?
Maybe someone wanted to destroy it, but got really lazy. Don't you think that's weird? That the letter isn't addressed to anyone, or signed by anyone?
Someone's being deliberately secretive.
Or they're trying to manipulate you. When I first saw it, I thought it looked like Flora was holding a knife, with blood on the tip.
You don't think that anymore?
No, it was a stupid thing to say. The room was dark. I was in shock. I'm just an idiot.
But it was blood on the tip. If you hadn't said anything, maybe Fifi wouldn't have checked.
Exactly. It's stupid.
but we would have missed out on an important clue.
Is it a clue? Really? Tell me how it's a clue. Tell me how it helps. Nothing about the knife makes any sense. It's just freaking everyone out. Wish I'd never said anything. Freya would always load up the palette with all the exact colors she was gonna need. I think it helped her zone out and focus on the actual painting itself. Like getting all your sheet music lined up before playing a long piece.
Right. So the blob of black paint in the middle, that was for painting Flora?
Flora's dress, yeah. She wears even more black than I do. Why is the glass cracked down one side?
Natural wear and tear, maybe?
No way. Freya took good care of her stuff. It was my mother's originally.
So, why is it up in Flora's room?
She just gets the most use out of it. Freya would borrow it too sometimes.
Does this belong to you, Poppy?
Now that's not really my style, is it?
But who else would own a tape like this?
Literally anybody? What was inside?
Nothing.
Huh. Whose paints are those?
They belong to Felix, I think.
Is that supposed to be Flora?
Possibly?
Oh, how nice. I think everybody sees something different.
Did Freya ever tell you what she saw in it?
Not exactly. She said something about it being from a recurring nightmare.
Sorry, but if it was from a nightmare, why would you paint it and leave it in front of your bed?
Maybe she wanted to take control of it. Giving something a physical form can make it easier to deal with. Well, sometimes. Hey, that's me. Not a bad likeness.
It looks like you're standing in a rose bush.
Is there something wrong with that?
This is a photo of Fifi and Freya, right?
Yeah,
How come you're not in it? You're friends with them too, aren't you?
I'm not really one for photographs.
Fifi looks like she really admires Freya.
Fifi's loyalty to Freya is unshakable. That belongs to Flora, I think. Is that Fifi's diary? I'm sure I've seen it in her room before.
That's where we found it.
Have you ever read it? Do you know what's written in there?
Nope. I'm sure she wouldn't appreciate me invading her privacy.
I thought you and Fifi were close friends.
Yeah, we are. It's just Fifi's gotten kinda impatient with me recently.
Do you know why?
I'm not sure.
I'm sure she'd tell you if you asked.
Oh, she would. She'd give it to me straight. Probably why I've been avoiding it. Did you find that in Fifi's room?
No? Should we have?
No, it's just... It looks like something she'd use, don't you think? Oh, you've been to the greenhouse? What did you think?
Impressive, I guess. But kind of unsettling with Fitz lurking in the shadows the whole time.
Yeah, he does that. Don't look at me. I didn't break it.
Does anybody else use the music room?
Yes. I don't know who, but I can tell when somebody else has touched the piano.
All right. Poppy's bedroom is unlocked.
I wonder what's in there. That is the bed of a vampire.
I thought vampires slept in coffins.
This is a vampire who needs firm support for their lower back.
It's an octopus.
No, it's not. It has 6 legs, not 8. Don't say it.
Sextopus.
Sheet music.
It's
Presumably.
only a few notes. I'd barely even call that music.
Yeah, it's been framed though. Must be important for some reason. There's a name for this kind of piano. You know, these ones that stand upright. Just a bunch of clothes on the floor. Nothing weird about
To
that.
you.
Anything in the wardrobe?
Dresses mostly. I never realized there were so many shades of black.
A lamp. It is most definitely turned off. Anything in the drawers?
Nothing you need to know about.
Oh, thank goodness, there are 7 lit candles. Wouldn't want it to be dark in here.
It's a metronome for keeping time.
It's ticking. Is it a bomb?
It's supposed to be ticking. Not sure what those symbols are, though. Nothing.
We can't rotate the pendulums directly.
There we go.
Perfect. What happened?
A little hatch unlocked in the back.
Anything in there?
Mm-hmm. It's a photograph. Part of a photograph.
There's something about that pink cassette tape. Something suspicious.
Let's ask Poppy about it.
Various handmade...
What do you think those symbols mean?
Hopefully, nothing. A big glass door leads out into a garden. Somehow.
There's a little mechanism by the handle.
Nothing. Still locked.
All 4 tiles have a moon symbol.
Those other symbols look like suns. Surely that's something to do with it?
I think it is, but in an abstract kind of way.
Nope. It's not budging.
Maybe the information we need isn't here.
So where is it?
Somewhere else.
Ah, didn't work.
You know, I think this might be one of a pair.
What? The whole thing?
Yeah. Something about those symbols. The duality of the sun and moon, you know?
If you say so.
I guess we'll come back later. Check out that butterfly.
Looks evil.
Wow, judgmental.
What's with those little windows down there?
I think they're there for draining rainwater.
Oh. My little writing desk. It's kind of cute.
There's nothing written in the book, although someone's torn a page out of the middle. They're bird cages, but the birds are coming and going freely.
Is that a metaphor?
Oh, it totally is. I don't like mirrors. They steal your soul.
How do you get your hair so symmetrical without using a mirror?
I do it by weight. I can feel if one side is heavier than the other.
An especially fancy cage.
And it's home to 3 especially fancy birds.
Oh, just beautiful. What is it?
Huh?
Sort of a delicate jade, but with a little seafoam green, is that right?
Sorry?
Your hair, dear! Which shade do you use? It's lovely! And that shape, you're really pushing the envelope.
Oh, thanks. I do what I can to offset Grimoire's beige on brown ensemble.
Detectives don't need to be brightly colored. We prefer to blend into the background.
Oh, you're the detective? Delightful. Penny Pointer, pleasure.
Is that short for Penelope?
Officially, yes, but I never can be bothered with all 4 syllables of it. Penelope sounds a little ostentatious coming out of the mouth, don't you think?
Sure. Yeah.
20-something, Aquarius, love to travel, and nearly all of my friends are birds.
Travel? Where to?
Anywhere at all, as long as it has species worth studying. Ornithology, they call it. I call it the only thing I've ever been good at.
And have you studied the birds here at Tangle Tower?
But of course! Where else do you think I developed my love of the field? No matter where I go, I always find myself coming home to Tangle Tower.
Because of the birds.
Oh, no, because of him! Silly to admit, but I suppose I can't bear for us to be apart.
Who are you talking about?
Oh, don't you know? My fiancé, dear Fitz. He's not really the traveling type, you see.
Fitzfellow.
The very one.
You're engaged to a member of the Fellow family? That's interesting.
I'm not especially interested in whatever tedious feuding goes on between our two families. Fitz and I find it much easier to stay out of it altogether. I awoke early and headed down into the greenhouse to see Fitz. He's always there, crack of dawn, every morning like clockwork.
How come?
It's where he's happiest. That and he has a great deal of work to do every day, watering, pruning, mulching, whatever that is.
Do you help him with the work in the greenhouse?
Oh, no. I wouldn't dream of it. I'd probably break something.
So, you stayed with Fitz the whole day?
No. In the early afternoon, he went back inside. Rather suddenly, as it happens.
Did he say why?
He didn't. Probably just a touch of heat stroke, the poor dear. He's more delicate than you'd think.
What did you do after that?
Let's see. I returned to the aviary to feed my birds.
And how many birds are you responsible for?
Officially 4, but in truth it's more like 400.
Can they not feed themselves?
Of course, and they often do. But I think they just like the company. As do I. Sometime in the evening, I left the aviary and headed back towards my room. But in the hall, I spotted Uncle Pointer heading down the stairs. He was muttering something. Seemed a bit upset, the poor dear. I followed him down, but the grand hall was empty by the time I got there. Empty aside from Detective Hawkshaw, who was loitering over by the library. I don't know what it was, but she looked a little lost. I inquired about the professor, and she told me he'd gone up the Fellow Tower. I ran up the stairs, hoping to catch up with him, but Felix appeared and blocked my path. For some reason, he was coming out of Fitz's bedroom. He looked rather lost, too. I told him I was looking for Uncle. He suggested we look up in Flora's tower room. We could see from the hallway. The door was off its hinges. I knew then something was terribly wrong. A moment later, we were gazing down on the body of poor Freya. Uncle Pointer was there. Fitz, too, standing over in the corner with Fifi and Poppy.
What about Flora?
Of course, silent as ever. Uncle suggested we should leave. Give the others some space, you know. So he and I both returned to our rooms in Pointer Tower. Oh, she's beautiful! Who is she? Wait, is that me? Oh, did you talk to Poppy already?
Yeah, a little bit.
And did you make any notes of what she told you?
Yeah, I did.
Lovely. Burn them. It'll all be lies.
Why would Poppy lie to us?
Because that's what she does. She's a snake. Looks like one, too.
Don't you think you're being a little unfair, Penny?
She started it. Isn't he strapping?
He is big.
And so brooding.
Kinda sulky, yeah.
I can never tell what's going on in that beautiful head of his.
It just sounds like you don't know him very well.
I don't remember asking for your input. She'd sit in the aviary, first thing in the morning, and paint the birds. Sometimes she'd ask me their names.
Freya was interested in studying bird species too?
No, just wanted to know their names. Isabelle, Clementine, Myrtle, Lysandre, Genevieve.
Got it, thanks.
For my 21st birthday, she gave me a framed painting. All the birds from a single spring. with their names written underneath. I can't begin to tell you how much I've treasured it.
Sounds like you two were close.
I feel like I always struggled to articulate my admiration for her, but she had a way of understanding unspoken things. She's a most unsavory little... She was incredibly rude about my appearance.
Which part? The giant bird arms, or...
If I were her, I'd go easy on the judgment of others. I mean, look at her. She looks like the ghost of a scarecrow. I just wish Uncle Pointer would tell her to behave herself.
Professor Pointer? Why him?
Oh, it was Uncle that called her in. She's his responsibility. Did you not know that? A fellow bird enthusiast. She's quite the expert, truth be told. Studied them professionally at one point. I think her father taught her.
Are you friends with Flora?
A little bit.
A little bit friends.
She's one for the peace and quiet. I dare say I'm a little too loud for her.
I can see that.
I do admire her, though, really. Always felt like she could have done better than settle for Felix.
Ouch.
I said it. I must say, I really don't care for the den of self-delusion that he's retreated into. People are better off when they just let themselves be themselves. Between you and me, I think Felix is secretly rather miserable. She mostly ignores me, if I'm honest.
How come?
Well, we're not quite on the same intellectual level.
Oh. You don't need to.
No, it's quite all right. I'm comfortable with it. You know, it's probably quite impressive. To a visitor, fresh eyes and all that.
Not to you?
Try living in it for 20 years. The sheen wears off. If it wasn't for my fits, I'd have little reason to stay.
What about inheritance? You're the next oldest pointer after your uncle, aren't you?
Well, thank you very much for phrasing it like that. But no, any money left in the Pointer family will pass down directly to Poppy.
Is that fair?
I couldn't care less, to be perfectly honest. Finally! I get to see a detective's case file.
That's a very specific thing to be excited about.
Well, only last week I asked that miserable Hawkshaw woman if I could see her case notes.
I'm guessing she said no.
Would have been much more polite if she had just said no. Instead, she was quite rude to me. Accused me of being, what was it? A shallow sensationalist. I'm sure I've read about this creature somewhere. Don't remember anything about him playing the harp, though. Goodness me. Poppy really doesn't take care of her belongings, does she?
It wasn't in Poppy's room. It was in the little pond in the garden.
Exactly! Hardly the place for it. Hello. Who penned this juicy little number?
We don't know. It's not signed.
An anonymous letter? Classic clue. I doubt Freya intended it, but the overall effect is a little unsettling. Don't you think? It's Flora that's the problem. She's an inescapably haunting presence, bless her. Oh, that's rather sad. Freya doesn't take very good care of her pains, does she? But then she was always rather bohemian, had her own priorities. Poppy's gramophone. She's had it for a long time. As a young child, she'd call it her mama phone, on account of it belonging to her mother.
That's cute.
Oh yes, adorable. Oh, terrible.
You recognize it?
The color scheme. 3 different pinks. Obscene. Gaudy old thing, isn't it? Flora seems very fond of it. I've never understood why. But then I could say the same thing about her husband.
Heyo!
A bit vain to carve wooden figurines of oneself, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken, that little red and white one is supposed to be a bird of some kind. I know a lot of people rather like this painting, but it's a little much for me. I find it overbearing. And for some reason, it makes me feel bad for Freya. I think she was more troubled than we knew. Very nice.
You've seen these before?
Yes.
All of them. Even this one of...
Yes. Freya was very talented, even at that age.
Do you know how old this photo is?
Not sure. Must be a couple of years at least. Sometime before Fiona settled on her current style. Somebody taking an interest in extinct animals.
Extinct.
Oh, yes. The book is very old. Most of the birds in it are long gone.
Well, what about this bird, though? The ink dip.
This one? Well, it was thought to be extinct for a long time. Then one was found here at Tangle Tower.
So it's not extinct.
You misunderstand. It was the last one. The very last.
Oh.
Ooh, a secret diary.
That's our guess, too.
Excellent. I don't know what that is. Ooh, delightful. More of a gemstone than a fruit, isn't it?
Inedible, too, I think.
Yes. At one point, I thought Fitz might be growing them to sell them. But honestly, I think he just likes the way they look. Haven't seen this one in a while. He lives in the music room, doesn't he?
Currently.
Looks a little simple for Poppy, doesn't it? Thought she was a grade 12 or something.
I didn't know there were that many grades.
I'm sure they invented some new ones just for her. I can't decide what's worse. How she looks here, or how she looks now.
Do you know who this is? In the photo?
Oh, absolutely no idea. I must say the girls are awfully well behaved today. I think they know we're in the presence of company.
They belong to you? Why do you keep them in a cage?
They need a special diet, particular treatment. I let them out to fly occasionally, of course. But they're all one of a kind. I couldn't let anything happen to them.
Do they have names?
Of course. Let me introduce you to Tabitha, Tamara, and Tatiana.
I've already forgotten all three of those names.
Which one is which?
Oh, that's simple. Tatiana is the oldest, Tabitha is the most patient, and Tamara has the best sense of rhythm.
Glad we cleared that up.
What about the one on your head?
On my head? It's just my hat. It doesn't have a name. Who would name their hat?
We can get into Penny's room now.
Now, like, right now?
That's some flower.
There's something weird about it. It just feels out of place.
Looks like nature invited itself in. Rude. Traveling cases.
Empty. All of them.
That bed. It's like something from a fairy tale.
Does it feel warm over here, or is it just me?
No, you're right. Maybe the bed has some kind of heater.
It's not coming from the bed. It's coming from the wall.
Ever get the feeling you're being watched?
The mannequins don't have eyes, though.
That's not a comforting sentence. That might be the most pointless staircase I've ever seen. Looks like nature. Rude.
It's a birdhouse.
Are those real birds? Nope, they're wooden.
They're using up all the perches. What if a real bird wanted to use it?
Nope.
There must be some logic to how the birds are arranged. Something to do with those white lines.
Nothing.
I think the birds are related to each other.
I guess that's wrong.
It's a family tree. The colors and eyes combine as they go down the family line. You'll need to start with blue and yellow at the top.
I got it.
I'm impressed. Did the door open? What's in there?
A Spyglass to the Stars. Volumes 1 to 12.
They're in very good condition. What is it?
It's clearly some kind of large device.
You're not wrong.
It's tidier than my desk. The notebook is untouched. It's completely blank.
So? Even the most well-used notebooks start off blank.
It's full of tea, but it's gone cold.
Criminal.
It's too cloudy to see any stars right now.
It's also daytime. Pretty.
Trinkets.
They're clearly gizmos. You know, I've always wanted one of those.
A mechanical solar system?
I would look at it.
Wait a minute. Earth in the middle, sun on the outside. How old is this thing? No, that was it.
Nice work. Did you hear that? Something unlocked.
There's a little hatch underneath? What's in there?
A bunch of paper. Looks like somebody's research.
Shh, listen. Do you hear them? The stars. They're whispering. So quiet, and yet so loud.
What are they whispering about? Are they spreading rumors about us?
I shouldn't think they concern themselves with such insignificance. We are but specks of dust, you and I.
Could this speck of dust start by telling me his name?
You find yourself standing in the astronomy tower of one Professor Percival Pointer.
Seems like this tower belongs to the Pointers, and the other one belongs to the Fellows.
Well observed, my dear. Tangle Tower is something of a duality, as it happens. Meaningless boundaries, really. They exist only in our minds.
Helpful.
Me? Not much to say. Strictly speaking, I'm the current head of the Pointer family. And, of course, father to my precious Poppy.
And a professional astronomer?
Oh, no, that's just a little hobby. I mean, yes, I've studied the stars for over 35 years, published 17 books.
Just a little hobby.
Sounds like you're quite well known. You must bring in a good amount of money.
Oh, dear me, no. My field of research has never yielded any kind of stable financial return, nor would I expect it to. I am nothing but a humble interpreter for the cosmos, working to translate its message so that I may share it with the world.
Cool. Tell the cosmos I say hi.
The day began as any other, with blissful, unremarkable routine. I took my usual morning walk around the gardens. Fresh air does wonders for the mind.
Did you see anyone else?
Penelope and Fitz were in the greenhouse together. I didn't bother them, of course. I sat for a while besides the pond in the garden. It's a favorite spot of mine. Eventually, I returned to my tower and buried myself in my studies for the afternoon.
Did you use your telescope yesterday?
Once the stars began to appear, naturally.
For how long?
I can't say. I've been known to lose hours at my telescope.
Did you see anything?
No actual discoveries, if that's what you mean.
So you were all alone up in the astronomy tower. Must have been a while before you found out what had happened to Freya.
Quite. Normally, I would be the last to find out about such a thing. But a curious tug of fate led me towards the fellow tower later that evening. I was at my telescope for the majority of the evening, but at one point I returned to my desk to look something up in a reference book. I couldn't find the book I wanted, so I figured Fiona must have borrowed it. I left my tower and headed down towards the Grand Hall. I spotted Detective Hawkshaw coming out of the library. She looked impatient and slightly frustrated.
Same as ever then?
Quite. I passed her by and went upstairs to Fiona's room. The door was locked, but I could hear shouting coming from inside. I recognized Fiona's voice as well as the voice of my own daughter. I had no desire to invade their privacy by eavesdropping, so I waited for them to finish and come out into the hall. Before I could ask about the book, Poppy grabbed my hand and took me upstairs along with Fiona. It was apparent that both of them had already been crying about something. We went up to Flora's tower. Freya was laying on her back, right in the middle of the room. Flora and Fitz were already there. They both looked stoic as ever. Felix and Penny arrived shortly after we did, and then Fiona went downstairs with Poppy for some reason. I quickly decided that I should leave also. I took Penelope with me, and we both went back to our rooms in Pointer Tower.
Why did you leave so quickly? Wasn't there anything you could have done to help?
Don't take this the wrong way, but the whole ordeal is fellow family business. I'm quite sure they don't need me getting in the way at a time like that. I don't especially want to talk about myself. Introspection often leads to vanity.
Wait, does it?
Why don't we discuss the moons of Jupiter instead?
I'm not sure if we have time. Aren't there like 10 of them?
83.
Yeah, we don't have time.
Ah, Penelope, our resident ornithologist.
Penny's your niece, is that right?
At this moment in time, until she marries the gardener.
She'll still be your niece.
But she'll depart from the world of the Pointers and join the Fellows. Like rats deserting a sinking ship. My Poppy, my pride and joy. Exceptionally talented pianist from a young age. She... Hold on. Why is she on your list of suspects?
Because she's a suspect.
Oh, no. I can personally vouch for her innocence. She'd never... Well, the truth is, she loved Freya very dearly.
If you don't mind me asking, what happened to Poppy's mother?
Primrose? She was Flora's sister, a Remington by birth. The playing field has never really been even since she left.
Where did she go?
Away. She went away. Hard to read, that one, but she seems to know what she's doing.
She's kind of mean.
You know, I simply assumed all detectives were sharp, rigorous, and thorough. Then, of course, I met you. Nobody could deny her talent. She was remarkable, artistically gifted, but also highly intelligent.
Those two things aren't mutually exclusive, you know.
Was she ever interested in astronomy?
I don't think she was. The fault may well lie with me for failing to inspire her. But I think she was captivated by more tangible things here on Earth. My daughter loved her. Fiona, too. That said, in the last year or so, more and more I begun to notice her by herself, wandering the gardens at the most peculiar hours. She must have explored every inch of the grounds 100 times over. Quite a restless spirit, I think. I'm surprised she chose to live at Tangle Tower as long as she did. What do you want me to say? He's the gardener.
He's a member of the family.
Yeah, but not the Pointer family.
What happened to his parents, do you know?
His father, Flint, is Felix's brother. Strange man. Don't think anybody knows what happened to him, but he certainly doesn't live here anymore.
What about his mother?
Emily? I've not met her. She never actually married into the fellow family. Her relationship with Flint was, it was short-lived. A listless soul drifting through the ether.
What's wrong with her?
Not sure. She's always been troubled. Comes from a dysfunctional family. I'd say you could ask her about it, but, I think you might find that to be a bit of a dead end. He should learn to make the most of his lot in life. And he does have a lot in life.
You're talking about money?
Among other things, but yes, he currently has agency over a small fortune. That is, if he hasn't already squandered it or lost it.
You two don't get on?
Oh no, we're the best of friends. Ah, yes, the heiress of Tangle Tower. Goodness knows what'll happen when she takes charge. I dare say she'll confiscate my telescope and replace it with a microscope.
She doesn't seem to be the type to impress her will on others.
Still, keep an eye on her. Dangerously intelligent, that one.
You sound jealous. Wait, are you two science rivals?
Oh no, we operate on very different wavelengths. Literally.
So which one is Tangle Tower?
What's that?
There are two towers, right? Flora's tower and your astronomy tower.
Neither? Truly, I have no idea. You'd have to ask Flora.
She named the house?
The whole thing is a result of her squabbling with her family.
With Felix, you mean? Her husband?
No, her brother and sister, and her father. The Remington family was a rather tumultuous little unit, you see. I don't think Flora has spoken with any of them in over a decade. Not exactly a wealth of information, is it?
It's enough.
A very old statue indeed. I'd recommend you leave it well alone. The poor fellow's in bad enough shape as it is. Isn't the process of decay fascinating?
It's not really decaying. It's plastic.
It's becoming one with nature, all the same. Where on earth did you find that?
It was in a bush outside. I think someone threw it away.
How peculiar. I find that painting to be in rather bad taste.
Oh, yeah?
The knife with real blood on it? The whole thing is rather vulgar. Here's a thought. Do you suppose the paintbrush could be the murder weapon? After all, it was found at the scene, right next to Freya's body.
I guess it's possible.
Is this important?
Possibly.
Pointer property originally, purloined by the fellows. Typical. I haven't seen that tape for a long time. Who broke it?
No idea.
Ah, well, possessions are fleeting, my friends. Curious little thing, isn't it? Do you know what she keeps in there?
Nothing. At the moment. It was empty when we opened it.
How bizarre.
Can't a woman keep an empty egg in her room?
This is supposed to be Felix, is it?
I think so.
I see he's afforded himself considerable artistic license. This looks a little rushed, even by Felix's standards.
At least he tried.
Yes, I suppose it's good for the old fellow to have a hobby. Keeps his mind from decaying, you know. Freya was well acquainted with the abstract, I'll say that much.
What does it look like to you?
To me, it's a big, red thing.
What a fascinating interpretation.
He's right, though. It is a big red thing.
These were drawn by Freya? She must have drawn that one of Hawkshaw rather recently.
I guess.
Poppy's two closest friends. Freya looks so innocent there. That's a very old book, isn't it? Looks like someone could have taken better care of it.
I like the look of a well-read book. Better than one that's never been opened.
Ah, well put. A diary can be a wonderful outlet for an outpouring of one's soul.
How do you know it's a diary?
I suppose I don't, but it does look like a diary. What's this?
It looks like it might be a telescope. Thought you might know something about it.
Well, it certainly is a telescope. It has a part there to screw onto a tripod, you see. It's rather small, though. I'm not sure you could see many stars with it.
No, probably not.
Fitz seems rather keen to grow things like this in his greenhouse, doesn't he?
What's wrong with that?
Well, you can't eat it. Makes you wonder why he bothers at all. Curious creature, isn't it? Some sort of amphibious bipedal fishman.
Playing a trumpet.
Playing a trumpet, yes. Oh, my. This is the first piece that Primrose ever learnt on the piano. Primrose, that is Poppy's mother. She passed it down to Poppy when she started teaching her how to play.
Poppy's piano teacher was her mother?
Of course. Warms my heart to know that after everything, Poppy still has it up on her wall. What a precious photograph. She hasn't changed a bit, has she?
Who?
Oh, if you don't know, perhaps I don't either. That's rather a small cage for 3 birds, isn't it? But then, aren't we all trapped in a cage? What kind of flower is that?
We're not sure. I think it might be the only one of its kind.
Primrose would know. My wife was a floriculturalist. Best in the field. That's a flower joke, but she was.
Interesting.
Well now, that is most definitely none of my business. Quite possibly none of yours either.
So, we found some research. What's up with this golden beetle? Is this something you're studying?
I can't help you, I'm afraid. I think it must be something left behind by a previous inhabitant of Tangle Tower. I'm not the first scientist to ever walk these halls, you know.
Well, it wasn't in the halls. It was in your astronomy tower. That's all the statements.
Let's go over them all. Every astronomy tower needs a telescope.
I want to try.
You can see right into Flora's room.
Not by accident.
I can see Flora, but she's not looking this way. She's looking up. Behind her is the backside of the easel holding Freya's unfinished painting. I can't really see anything behind it. Not from this angle.
It's that little plant Flora keeps on the window ledge.
Don't you think it would fall off?
Maybe it's glued down. Is that a window?
I think it is.
Is there another room above Flora's room?
We should check that next time we're over there. Isn't this supposed to be an astronomy telescope? I'm pretty sure you need to see the sky for astronomy to work.
I can't move it. I think this is just how it's set up.
There's something about Pointer's astronomy habits. Something suspicious.
Let's ask him about it. Where's that light coming from?
Well, it's just daylight, I think. There's a decent gap between those floorboards. Is that what I think it is? What is that?
Not sure. Some kind of reel?
Looks like it might attach to something. It's a statue of a wolf, standing up straight, like a man.
You know there's a name for that.
I know.
It's not quite as dusty as everything else up here. Also, it's not a statue. It's stuffed. Someone painted out the window.
Do you think it was done recently?
No idea. Either way, it's pretty suspicious.
It's a little handmade card. Someone's drawn a heart on the front. Inside it says, "To Fitz, from PP." An empty glass and an empty plate.
Looking at it is making me want to cry.
Why?
I don't know.
Huh. Neither of these lights have an actual light bulb.
They're just decorative.
Oh, so decorative. There's someone outside the window.
Something outside the window. It's probably just a rock.
You sure?
Hello.
Not hidden very well, is it?
Doesn't need to be. It's locked. It's a combination lock. Sort of. There we go.
Perfect. Anything in there?
Yeah, it's wrapped in a cloth. Hold on. Huh, that's kind of ominous.
It's locked, but it leads outside.
I thought we were halfway up a tower.
We are.
What's that thing by the handle?
Nothing. Still locked.
The tiles.
Those moons.
Maybe they're connected.
It made a noise.
I guess that was right. And the door's still locked.
I still feel like we made some sort of progress. A big glass door leads out into a garden.
There's a little
Something happened.
That must be it. Finally, it's open.
Whatever's on the other side. It's another little statue, doing a really bad job of hiding in the bushes.
He's playing a lute this time.
He's also wearing headphones.
Well, they're not part of the statue. And they're not headphones. They're earmuffs. Giant stone frog. Love it.
Ah, he's got his tongue out like he's catching snowflakes.
Except those aren't snowflakes. They're feathers. That's one big dragonfly.
Or one very small dragon. A little pond.
It looks really, really deep for some reason. See those metal bars around the edges too?
Oh yeah, What do you suppose they're for?
Nothing anymore. Looks like somebody broke them and then never bothered to fix it. It's so relaxing. I might just stay here.
Oh, shall I go finish the investigation on my own?
That'd be great.